Seth Greenberg, ESPN college basketball analyst, and joining us, Continental Tire Coach's Corner. Coach, let me start here. I just had an unbelievably white-hot take on who's the best player in the draft, who I like the potential, NBA potential. Can you guess who I like NBA potential-wise for this draft later this month?
Well, I hope it would be DeAndre Ayton because he's a genetic freak.
Nope.
In terms of upside, he reminds me a little bit of Embiid. But I would like to know your opinion on who you think is the greatest potential, Dan.
Jaren Jackson Jr. III.
Oh, I'm a big Jaren Jackson fan now. In terms of, that's not far off. Jaren Jackson, another guy, you talk about 7'5" wingspan, shoots threes, runs the floor, can defend. You'd like to see him rebound the ball better. He's got ridiculous pedigree. I'd make you the GM as long as you don't have multiple Twitter accounts.
I'm not going to take Markelle Fultz, though.
No, that's probably not a good thing. The interesting thing is I feel bad for Fultz, but one thing, I talked to a lot of people before. I thought Tatum last year was the best player. I mean, to me, in terms of transitional skill set.
Yeah.
But, I talked to Jim Boeheim, who I think evaluates as good as any player, coach I've ever talked to in terms of just having a feel for players. And he was involved with Fultz with USA Basketball, and he swore by the kid. And he and I actually had a pretty heated argument about it one day on the phone. But Fultz, we don't know yet. I mean, obviously he has some issues, he has some maturity issues, but you never know how it's going to play it. We still forget these kids are 18, 19 years old. I mean, they're not a finished product mentally, physically, emotionally. The transition to having money, having freedom, and having pressure. So, I mean, I think sometimes we overreact to 1 year. I hate to use the word because I think the whole thing's kind of a joke, but it's not as easy as it looks, and it is a process to some.
Well, you don't have finished products coming out of college like we once did. When you had somebody with at least 3 years of experience, maybe 4 years of experience, and that wasn't a negative, 20 years ago. Now you're trying to assess a kid who's 18 years of age, 19 years of age, even 20 years of age. Sounds like an old kid coming out of college. So it makes it even tougher when you have these high draft picks that you just can't whiff on them. And that's where this is going to be on Brian Colangelo the rest of his career, because we're going to look at Jason Tatum, and every time you see him, you go, how'd the Sixers pass on that guy? How did they pass on Jason Tatum?
I don't know. I passed on Steph Curry, so I'm not going to make any comments. I think that.
Wait, why did you pass on Steph Curry?
We didn't have a scholarship available. That's why. I mean,
you cut somebody, Seth. You run somebody off to give him a scholarship, right?
We weren't allowed to. We ended up with plenty of scholarships available, but we weren't allowed to over award. That's just the way it was at our school. So, but anyway, in terms of you're looking at Tatum. I mean, to me, Tatum just. His size, his length, his feel, I hate the cliches that the scouting gurus use, but scores at all three levels. But the guy's wired to score, and he does have a lot of different ways to make buckets. So that's why I like Tatum. But it's an inexact science, and you're right. The problem is that the analytics guys say that, there's a big difference drafting an 18-year-old than a 21-year-old, that the 18-year-old's upside far exceeds where a player is at 21, which is mind-boggling to me because 21 is far from a finished product. And, I'd love to see the data, but I was talking to a bunch of NBA guys just the other day, and they said that there is a difference. Now, you can't make mistakes. I mean, it's such a valuable commodity to draft at the top. And I like your Jackson pick. I'd like to see him rebound the ball better. He's Marcus Camby with a jumper. That's my comparison.
All right, I'll take that.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.